All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is our 1 minute warning. 1 minute warning. Then we're going to go ahead and get started. Where's Danica? Danica's going to open it up. And if everybody's ready, that's going to be a short minute, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd actually like Pastor C, if you don't mind, to open up in prayer before we get started.
Father God, we bless your name tonight. We thank you for this opportunity to be here on this evening. God, we ask that you will bless every family that's represented here on tonight. We thank you for our youth, God, those that are on the panel, God, those that are in the audience, God. And Father God, we ask for your glory to reign in this place on tonight. We thank you, Father God, for the mayor of Patterson, the police chief, the workers, and all of those, his staff now, the mayor's staff, the council. We just bless your name for the ministers that are here, God. And God, we open up to you tonight. And God, whatever you want us to get from this on tonight, let it be done. In the mighty name of Jesus, we bless your name tonight. And the people of God says amen and amen.
Amen.
All right, hello everyone. How y'all doing? Y'all know how this works. How y'all doing?
Wake up, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. How y'all doing? All right.
Ooh, I don't know about this crowd. I think crowd number 2 was better than this crowd. How y'all doing? I love it. Thank you very much. I like to bring the energy. Of course, there's a lot of youth in here, so bring the youthful flavor. My name is Danica Long, and we have 2 very special guests. We have Holden Murray. They will introduce themselves a little bit later, and also Courtney Long. I have a couple of house rules that I'd like to tell you, and hopefully you will be able to abide by them. We're hoping that tonight will be all about the youth. So it is your day, your night. Parents, adults, if you don't mind, maybe taking a back seat. I know it's very hard to do, but take a back seat for a moment and allow the children, the youth, the young adults to have the floor. We want you to feel comfortable. We don't want you to feel like you're being judged. Again, this is your night. Feel free to open up, because nothing will change if you keep your mouths closed. I know that's why y'all are here, because you want to see change. We're also asking that if you do like to reply, please keep it at a 2-minute reply. We do not want it to tarry on, so keep in mind time. If I get a little close to you, that means time to wrap it up. Also, we are asking that you also listen with an intent to understand and not necessarily an intent to respond. So a lot of times we might say, back in my day. Well, it's not back in your day. This is their day. And we're turning it over to this generation. So now, sirs, please take it over.
You can go first.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Holden Murray. I work at the City of Patterson under Mayor Grogan's administration. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for coming here. This is our last session. It's been an honor and it's been a privilege to be a part of this. Give yourselves a round of applause, because I see a lot of people consistently coming. Also, this is a special night, because all the nights we've been hearing about the youth, what the youth are doing, what they're not doing, what they've done, what they can do better. So tonight, we're going to actually hear from the youth, hear their voices, hear their feelings, hear their thought processes. So we want everybody to have an active listening session. Listen to these young men, listen to these young women, and be a part of the solution to the problems that they're facing. So now I would like for my co-moderator to introduce himself.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am, as my wife spoke, Courtney Long. A lot of people know me as a scholar in the community. I'm very, very blessed to have this opportunity to speak to the youth. I actually got my little cousin up here, so I want to hear what he got to say. But I think this is a great opportunity, and I want to reiterate and kind of expound on what Danica said, whereas tonight, how do we measure success? And I think the success in this event tonight is going to be told when we walk away from here with a better understanding of where the youth is, where they are right now currently in their life, the challenges that they face, and then ultimately how we as adults can help them overcome those challenges. And if you're asking for, as a consultant, I like to use metrics to decide how do we measure success. I think that's the measurement of success. So again, if one of these young ladies or young men in the audience or up on the panel says something that you're passionate about or you feel like you can offer advice to, try to keep it to what they're saying and not back in my day. Because I think we have to now take what we grew up under and evolve that to fit what they need today. And that's the objective here today, is to hear from them, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. And I'm saying ladies and gentlemen because you're young men and young women. We are here to listen. We have you here because we care. So please take this opportunity to have your voice heard. And without further ado, we're going to introduce our panel. Mic check. It's red. Yeah, battery. Oh, there it is. Mic check. There we go.
Johnny Connor.
Trevor Thomas.
Wait. Come on back to the front. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all this, and we're here. This is a teaching moment. It's an honor to be sitting here, first and foremost. I want people to know who you are. So please tell us your name. Slow down, speak loudly. Tell us your name, what school, how old you are, and what school you go to, please.
Nancy Howard, 14 years old, and a student athlete who attends Patterson High School.
All right.
Keaton Harden, I'm 17 years old, and I graduated from Patterson High this year.
Johnny Connor, 19 years old. I will graduate at West St. Mary High School and a student at Louisiana State University.
Trevor Thomas, 12 years old, Patterson Junior High.
Mm-hmm.
Desmond Smith, I'm 17 and I go to Patterson High School.
Jamari Francis, I'm 18. I graduated from Patterson High School and I'm going to Nichols in the fall.
I'm Dylan Gunner, I'm 18 and I will be attending the University of Louisiana at Lafayette.
All right, what school did you graduate from, bro?
I graduated from Patterson High.
All right, Patterson deep in here. Round of applause for the panel. Great job, y'all, great job. So how you want to kick it off? You want to go to influence question? Okay, all right. All right, so we're going to get right into it. And this question is for the panel, but if anybody in the audience, we're going to kind of bounce it back and forth. So for the panel, I want to start out by understanding you guys deeply and being a phenomenal rapper myself at one time. Yeah, y'all don't believe it, but I was. Yeah, I know that music is a great influence. So I want to know, who is your favorite rap artist? Who is your favorite rap artist?
Kanye West.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know.
Tupac.
Tupac.
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh.
Meek Mill.
Tupac.
NBA YoungBoy.
There you go. I knew he was coming. Look at my daughter. She's like, yeah. And the reason why I asked that, ladies and gentlemen, is because I strongly believe that if we start to understand, and I was surprised with the Tupac, that's my era. Are y'all serious? Like, y'all old school up here. But if you understand what they constantly have in their ears, then you understand the influence. You understand, because music is a very, very powerful tool that sometimes is used against you guys, and I don't know if you know that. And let me speak a little further to that, and then we're gonna get on. Holden, I got a message for y'all. So think in terms of the music that you listen to being like this, and I tell my kids this all the time. I think it's a two-edged sword, because the fact of the matter is, a lot of times when we listen to NBA YoungBoy, and I'm not picking on NBA YoungBoy because I turn up to him all the time, but I understand that's just entertainment, right? And a lot of times the line gets crossed, whereas entertainment becomes reality, because I think the fact of the matter is, a lot of the things that these kids are hearing in this music is actually real life to them. And that's what I think we don't understand. When they come outside, these are things that they actually see. But the fact of the matter is, we as parents have to draw that line and teach them that this is just music. It's meant for entertainment. You ought to listen to this, get crunk, do whatever, party, but you have real life after that. There's a reality after the song goes off. And it's not for you to listen to the lyrics and live out the music. Because let me tell you something. You said NBA Youngboy going home to a mansion. He not in the hood like he's speaking about on his music. So I don't want y'all to get tricked into that whole thing of thinking that you have to live out the lyrics, right? It's just an art form. It's just music, and it's not meant to be your reality. You control your reality. So I just wanted to say that. Holden, you got anything you want to add?
So I'll follow up with we're talking about influence and how music is a very powerful influence, especially at a young age when you're trying to figure out yourself. You need inspiration. Music can inspire you. But as far as the adults in your life, as far as being an influence, a lot of times when parents or adults, they try to talk to kids, they may come from a perspective that's not reality of the current day and age, or they might fuss a lot, and we know a lot of times that may or may not work. So my question is, for an adult to be a good influence on this younger generation, how would you guys give them advice on how to approach this younger generation?
Yeah. You want to go down the line, or anybody, like, does that speak to anybody and you like, I want to answer that right now? If not, we'll go down the line. Anybody? All right. Y'all get a chance to watch him and come back.
I think that the older generations, especially that our community leaders, they need to get engaged and get involved in our schools and our programs. Going to football, basketball games as a community leader isn't enough. Parents, I think that they need to get on our levels, do things that we do, come into our lives as not just a parent and a friend. So often you hear, oh, I'm not one of your little friends, but we need you to be one of our friends. We need you to be someone who listens to us and cares about us and wants to know what we're going through. So I think that's how you get engaged and get involved in our lives.
All right, so I'm going to call you Blue. You said that's your nickname, right? So, Blue, hold the mic 1 second. I want to challenge your thought, and not challenge it in a negative way, but just get more clarification. When you say that you need your parent as a friend, what do you actually mean? And let me expound before you answer. Because I believe, and my job as a father, I tell my kids all the time, is to save you from your young self, right? Because you will make mistakes and things of that nature. So I try to keep myself separate as a friend, keep myself separate and remain daddy, remain the father figure. So trying to understand what you mean by that, what do you mean by you need your parents as a friend?
I think sometimes parents get lost in the title of dad or mother or mom, that they forget to actually, come down to our level sometimes, take yourself off of that pedestal and, open up about your experiences as a kid when you were our ages. Okay. Open up about the things that you went through. Yep. Tell us how you got through it, Yep. That's what I mean.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. Thank you for that. Anybody else? All right, young lady on the end.
I think the older generation should get into learning more about mental health. Okay. I say this because I was in school with a lot of people who struggled with a lot of things, and they struggled to go to their parents because their parents kind of told them, oh, well, nothing can be wrong with you. Look at everything you have. You have a roof over your head. Nothing can be wrong with you. But there are kids who go through things, depression, anxiety, and they should be able to open up to their parents more about it instead of kind of leaning away from it because they tell them, you don't have nothing to be depressed about, there's nothing wrong with you, and just things of that sort. They don't believe in it pretty much. So I feel like parents or guardians should get into educating themselves about mental health.
Awesome. And based on what you said, I think that's very, very powerful. And I want to give by a show of hands, if y'all not too shy, and it's real. Mental health is real. Has any of the kids in the audience ever felt like nobody understands and you just feel depressed? Anybody, by a show of hands? Wow. Okay. So you definitely spoke to an issue. And thank you for speaking to that. Anybody else?
I agree with her because I remember I went to Morgan City. I was bullied a lot, so then I started going down this little spiral, feeling sad every day. Didn't really want to eat, didn't really want to leave my room. Then one day I spoke to my parents, well, my mom. She was speaking to me on my level. She was like, I should never have to feel that way about, I should never have to feel about how I feel about myself. I should always love myself no matter what. I should never listen to what those people said. I believe in my mom because she always told me, believe in what your mom believes in. So when I went back to Morgan City, the next day, I stopped listening to the bullies. I stopped letting them mess with me. I just blocked them out, really.
Okay. And that's the best thing to do, little Trevor. That's the best thing. Wise words from a young kid. Anybody else?
So to follow that up, we want to hear from you guys about your feelings, but we also want to stay on the topic of the theme of gun violence, domestic violence, drug usage. So we're going to kind of go back and forth between your thoughts about issues and also your thoughts about the theme issues. So one question we have is, how safe, whether you graduated or not, how safe do you feel at your schools? And do you ever worry about an active shooter situation?
Good question. You can go.
I worry on a daily basis. After what I see happening on the news every day, I can never trust nobody. I can't trust school. I can't even trust going out in public. I gotta worry about getting shot. I gotta worry about the police trying to kill me. I can't stop this.
Ho.
I can't stop it. But all I gotta do is pray.
You gotta worry about what?
I gotta worry about going out in public, going to school, police sometimes, getting shot. That's all I gotta worry about on a daily basis. That's all that takes up my mind.
Yeah.
But I pray and pray that it goes away, but it's gonna take a while. There's a lot of healing that's gonna be needed. So yeah.
Do y'all hear this, adults? Do y'all hear this? So I think you're the youngest one on the panel, aside from, no, you're 14, so you're the youngest one on the panel.
You about to
Keep
make me
going.
have church.
Keep going. You about to get an amen, brother.
Yes, amen.
That's great. Anybody else want to touch on that? Lindsay, right here.
Sometimes, since I play sports and I be around my friends and stuff, playing backyard football, I be concerned about my safety, stuff like that. And in school, I pray for the people who it happened to, but I just hope it doesn't happen in this area.
I would say going to school isn't even the only place that I worry about going. I worry about going to the gas station alone. Like, I will not go get gas by myself. Kind of irks my family because I like to ride on E, but I will not go get gas by myself because I am scared of anything happening, and I'm a small girl. You know, you can have mace and stuff, but what is that to a gun? So I do worry about that, and especially school is getting closer to home, and you can't ever say it won't happen to you because it definitely will. And I also have 2 younger siblings, and I worry about them. I mean, I can't be there to protect them, so I worry about them as well.
I would also like to add on something. I also agree with her because I also have 2 younger siblings. And I always worry about their safety because my 4-year-old little brother finna go to school this year. So I'm worried about what's going to happen over there. Because I know he's with my mom and my grandma. But they have had little threats before, so I'm still worried about it. And I also agree with her. I do not like going outside alone. And it's just scary when you're alone. You have to be with somebody to help you whenever something's happening. And then I always be scared because you never know what's going to happen in your own home. You could get raided, you could get robbed, you could get shot during anything. Even if it's just a little argument and you're outside, one of them might grab a gun and miss the shot at the person and probably hit you or someone that's around. So it's just something scary to think about it, but it's the truth.
Yeah. Can I ask him what we're making? All right, kind of spinning off. You want to speak to that? Okay, all right. So kind of spinning off of that, I do want you to speak to this. What do you feel like we can do, the police can do, the school can do? What collectively can we do to make you feel safer? Maybe. He said, give it to me. By the way, he's not 12, he's 21.
Maybe what you can do, the police can help us by probably trusting us a bit more and maybe doing better checks than just like saying, taking off of what's the outline of what you got. Say my phone. Some people be having phones in their pocket, they be shy because police think it's a gun. And some people have brushes in their hand, police think it's a gun. So I need the police to do better, firm checks to make me feel safe in my community. And at school, what we need is better security systems. We need better enhancements so we can see if we have any intruders, guns, anything that can be used as a weapon. We need it gone.
I don't even know what to say. Great job, Trevor.
I think that having officers in our schools, it's safe to an extent because not many students feel safe with officers in schools because officers look at, especially like on the west end of the parish, there's a lot of African American students, and we don't have the best relationship with the police departments. So I think that community policing needs to occur in our communities. Officers need to get into our communities and work with the students. We have like the DARE program, but the DARE program, it just teaches us about drugs and educating us on drugs. But we need community police officers who go into our communities and they engage with us and get to know us. We have officers in our schools, but half of them don't know our names. So I think that officers in schools need to get engaged with the students. Walking the halls isn't enough.
Wow, okay.
I think schools should definitely take it upon themselves to check the book sacks more. I got to school late every day, and when I would walk through the metal detector sometimes, they'll just take my book sack and slide it through. They wouldn't check it or anything, but I think the teachers and the staff are under the mindset of that student would never do that, but you can't think like that. I could have woken up on the wrong side of the bed and just decided, oh, I want to shoot up a school today. And they just take my book sack and they slide it through. And it's not a mesh, I didn't have a mesh book sack, and they didn't check it thoroughly or anything. They were just trying to get me out of the way so I could make it to class on time. So I definitely think that they should make it a point to thoroughly check students more. And not only that, I would go through the metal detector sometimes, and because the teachers were maybe under the impression that, oh, she would never do that, they would have a boy behind me and they would check their book sack, but they would just slide mine through, but they would take everything out of their book sack. So I think they should equally and thoroughly check everything that students are carrying, what they bring into school with them, and just do a more thorough check.
Okay, so now I'll pose this question to everybody, and it's a simple yes or no and a why. Would you, as a student, feel comfortable if the police department in your community decides to do active shooter training at your school? Yes or no, and why? And we could start in the middle and then go to...
Should we not add the context of what that would actually look like?
From some people we haven't heard from.
Okay. Can we get an officer to kind of explain?
I'll say yes because some students, they could probably take it serious and just act like this is real and then be really prepared if something happens. Hopefully it doesn't though.
1 second. Can we do this just to give context to the kids so they can answer this question more clearly? Can we get an officer to kind of explain what that active shooter training will look like at the school so that the kids will be better informed and say whether or not they will be okay with it? Any officer Can you explain, like, kind of give a snapshot of what that would look like, the active shooter training at the school? Anybody? So what would happen in the active shooter training?
So what we was is this on? So what we start off doing is we would get all the kids involved, kind of break them down, explain to them what's going to take place. But what we do on our active shooter style trainings is we kind of practice the same way that it would happen in real life. We set up all the different agencies that would respond through the parish, and just like if the kids were in school, we would have them role play and also have a learning side of it for them to where they see what's going on inside the classroom whenever this is starting to take place, and then we also involve law enforcement, fire personnel, and medical personnel on the outside, so we can all kind of see how each other's going to interact, how it's going to play out throughout the parish. We kind of spread out throughout our parish, so it's kind of unique here where we have to rely on many agencies to help, and I don't think that we take that into account a whole lot. So we actually have something going on now. We're trying to plan it out to where we can get one of these going, and we're hoping that the students and teachers are going to get involved with it. It takes a lot of planning. But we have multiple things that the kids can take part in, with different things that they can do inside the classroom to up their chances of survival, kind of teaching them when to hide and lock the doors and when to run, different things like that.
Okay, thank you for that education point. So I guess speaking to exactly what he said, Holden, your question was, would they be okay with it? Would you be comfortable with, based on what the officer just said? How would that affect you? Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. I personally think that would be something to consider doing in our schools, because it can prepare and equip students understanding and better knowledge of what to do in those situations if it were done.
I believe we should do it because some kids, like he said, some kids don't take it seriously. And I've been in class with some of these kids that don't take it seriously. During the drills, we be sitting down, they be talking, laughing, moving stuff around. But in a serious situation, that's not what you should be doing. You should be quiet, sitting, and at least so anyways, we do need it because we need to show the kids that don't be taking it seriously what will actually happen if they talk or move anything during a real shooting.
Okay, awesome.
I think we should do it, but I still have doubts because most people that shooting up the school are students that go to the school, and they would know what to do during that situation. But overall, it'd probably be beneficial.
Wait. Don't get that mic away. So you said that most of the kids, I want to make sure I understand. So say what you just said one more time.
That most of the kids that's like doing the school shootings are kids that goes to the school that they're shooting.
So the kids wouldn't know what to do anyway, you said?
No, they would know, but the kid that's shooting the school would also know what the people in the school is doing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So you're saying that if they would know the plan and safety precautions and things of that nature, right? I just wanted to, I'm going to ask questions if I don't understand. It makes total sense, though. Yeah.
I definitely think that should be taken into consideration because teachers go through that, but none of the students take the teacher serious. None of them do. So I feel like from a police's perspective, they maybe would say, wait, I could really be in this situation. Let me take it serious. Because like I said, they usually don't take the teacher serious from what I've experienced. But I also feel like the police should make students feel safe when going through that and not making them feel like they won't have them to depend on in that situation.
Yes, I would feel comfortable because there are students who think that the drills are like play jokes and they don't take it as serious, and when the drills are happening, they make noise or they want to play fight with their friends, but that's not the case. So, because in the moment of a shooting, when the shooting is happening, how I want to word this. When the shooting is happening, you practice the drill, but if you never practiced the drill before, a lot of people will freeze up and they will panic. So it's important that we all must go over these drills so we know what to do in certain places. Like, for example, if a kid is in the bathroom during the time of a shooting, they can know what to do, where to hide or how to hide. They can stand on the toilet, or like if there's people in the gym, they won't just scatter outside or to different parts of the gym. They will have certain places to go or what to do. Yeah, and back to what Dustin said, how he said, like the shooter is from the school most of the time. Well, they had this shooting in Texas where this 18-year-old shot up at elementary school, but he wasn't a part of the school system. Well, he wasn't a part of that school or the elementary, so he didn't know what they were going to do during the after shooting drill. So not all the shooters will be from the school. You never know where they could come from or how they're feeling that day.
No, very valid points. Anybody else want to speak to that?
I know we got one in the audience, so you've been in the audience.
Yeah, I agree on the drill, but what if the shooter was a student from the school? What would happen then?
Would you like to open it to the floor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You can do that.
All right, we have a young man in the audience who disagrees with the active shooter, and I'll let him explain.
I understand the safety protocol and surviving in case of a situation happens, but it wouldn't really be a good idea because in some cases, demonstrating can show the survivors and the shooters at the same time, showing that some shooters could go somewhere else and do the same thing with kids that don't have the same protocol for that.
Yeah, put the mic up further.
Like, some people, even with the protocols and protection and surviving, some people can do the good thing for surviving, and then some people could be the people that see the shooter's point of view, and then go do it at somebody else's school, just because they think it's fun.
So, 1 second, Nick. So, while we have you here, and thank you for voicing your opinion, because that's what it's about, dialogue. What then, I think the active shooter drills is to kind of, like this gentleman said, that if it happens and you have no training, just like a fire drill, right? Then you panic, you don't know what to do. So, if you're opposed to the active shooter drills, what then is your suggestion that could be an alternative to it?
Show them the survival way, but not showing it the whole situation, because showing the survival way, showing them where they can go and what they can do, but not showing the whole situation to show somebody else how to beat a bad person.
Okay. So you're saying don't expose too much, basically. Gotcha.
All right, so I think it's right to let the officer respond.
Correct.
That the type of alert training that you would show the students and the teachers is going to be what's going to happen prior to the police arrival. We're not going to go into too much of what techniques we would use upon entering a school, because we don't want to educate the wrong person out there that may do the shooting, that knows our techniques, knows how we're going to operate, and knows what we're going to do when we come into school. What we need to teach is the kids and the teachers on how to react whenever something like this happens, because whenever it does happen, it's going to be loud, it's going to be violent, and everything's going to be chaotic. So I think what Captain Vaillant was saying is that the type of training that you would bring into the schools to educate the teachers and the students about what to look for and what may happen whenever this takes place is something that's totally different than the alert training that we go through as law enforcement upon entering a school to go ahead and take down this the shooter.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Also, on the same topic of safety, this young lady would like to respond.
Okay.
Oh, so earlier I had to just pull over and ask her, because I'm going to be real. Whenever I first heard him bring up the drill, I'm like, yeah, it sounds nice to hear, but realistically, people are unpredictable. You're not going to think about the drill, and then you're also not going to think about the interactions that your students or people in general are going to have. say outside of school, because it's not the only place it's going to happen. Outside of school, you're in public, say, I don't know, you're at Walmart, and you have these type of incidents happen, you're not thinking of certain protocols. Like, I understand the reality of, like, hey, I want to protect myself and the child, but I feel like the necessary precautions that you need is guns, something to protect yourself, something to keep yourself stable. Because whenever I hear it, it's like, yes, but also inside of buildings, going back to school, people aren't really interested in learning these type of things. Everybody's more focused on living in their reality, but they're not really worried about the political aspects of things. So, like, I hear you guys, but it just doesn't sound realistic to me.
So what exactly isn't realistic about it, Diamond? Because I think I'm hearing you say that you should be armed. Are you suggesting students be armed, or?
I mean, I know not everyone's with the program where they want their child, especially recently with these incidents where children are getting a hold to these adults' weapons. But I believe that these children should have some sort of way to defend themselves. They're vulnerable. They're the most vulnerable people right next to women in the cycle. How exactly do you want these little people to take care of themselves?
Well, the same way that the little people, and I'm speaking directly, and it's not disrespect, it's just, I know you, so we can talk like this.
I know.
So the fact of the matter is, I think it's the same way that when you were a kid, you didn't feed yourself, right? Your mom bought the food, she prepared the food, she made sure that you had lights over. So the adults are there to set the precautions and take the precautionary measures to make sure you're safe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. But what happens whenever we're outside of your protection?
That's a good question. I guess, yeah.
But is it safe to say, and I don't know if we have anyone from the school board, that the school is supposed to be an extension of that?
Yep.
You have the law enforcement that's there. You have teachers, and I understand with teachers there is a limit, but we do have officers that are supposed to be trained, and I believe many are trained to protect our children. Not that they have to take matters into their own hands.
Right.
However, it sounds like a lot of the students are saying they don't feel protected. So it does seem like there's a disconnect, and maybe this is much needed, and there needs to be maybe a reevaluation of how to better serve and protect the children at schools.
And to your point, Danica, and this is for you, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the meat of it. What stuck out to me and really bothered me, and I'm going to just say that, is we had at least 2 kids on this panel that said that they don't feel like the police trust them or they don't trust the police. So as you gentlemen sat back there, first of all, I think we don't want to prolong before you get a chance to speak to that. What promise can you give these kids? What answer can you speak to that? What can you hold yourself accountable for to turn that mindset around? Anybody?
Good afternoon. I do agree that we need to get back into the to the realm of things, get back into the public, having more open mind as what's going on with the kids these days, especially with all the violence that is going on. But again, if to have an officer go out and open himself up or herself up, we in turn need the same respect back. If you understand what I'm saying. We were all brought up, everybody was brought up differently, but I can tell you each and every police officer that we have is here to help somebody. No police officer that I know of is out here wanting to hurt anyone. That is not what we took this profession for, and I can tell you that that's not what we want to live for. Okay. But in the same breath, like I said, once we open up, and we go back into the community, or what we need to get back into the community, and start open ourselves up, and having the young people come to us to supply us information or anything that you feel like needs to be done, then that's what we need to do. But in the same breath, you need to feel comfortable with coming to us, and that's going to take our doing to do that.
Yeah. I think, Nick, I think Blue wanted to speak to that.
First, I want to speak to the active shooter drills. You said that you teach students how to react before the police get there. Honestly, in situations like that, who's thinking about the protocols or what you're supposed to do? Excuse my grammar, but if someone's on fire, ain't nobody thinking about stop, dropping, and rolling. You know, so I think that active shooter drills aren't going to exactly change how we react to situations like that. And to you, what are you doing to increase your reaction time, your response time to situations like that? And to your other point that none of the police officers in our communities are looking to actually cause anyone any harm. I think that that's, to an extent, some officers aren't looking to cause any harm to anybody, but I think that with the recent uptick in police-involved accidents in our communities, it shows that some officers are in our communities to harm us. So I think that that is an issue on your side that needs to be corrected.
See, look, my problem is with the police brutality stuff. So look, I want to trust y'all. I want to trust the police, but it's kind of hard because of everything that happens. Mostly like all the black people all the African Americans that died during the police that were killing them. They trusted them, but the police broke the trust. So then everyone is scared for their lives because of the police. The police has mostly all black people scared for their safety. Every time they see a police officer, they act like they have to have the right posture, the right clothes, whatever. They can't wear whatever they want to wear in public, really, because people get shot. Black people get shot wearing hoodies. They get shot wearing any normal clothes they like wearing. They get shot. So we have to think we gotta dress like formal, normal clothes, normal everything, just not to get shot by the police. So I want to trust y'all so much, but after everything that happened, I don't think I can.
So we're here for action-oriented things to happen. Yep. So we want to get to a place where we come to a middle ground, where there's feelings on both sides. Yep. Some feelings on one side may be hurt. Some feelings on one side may be attacked. But what we're here for is to come in the middle and have those feelings, but also let's move past those feelings and get to a place where we all can agree and move forward. Yep. Because if we're attacking or if we feel ways and we're defensive and we feel ways, nothing's going to get accomplished. So my question to all of you is, from the police, what actions do you want to see? Give them specific things that will make you feel better, that will make you feel like you can trust the police. What do you want to see from them? Here's your opportunity.
It's not so much from the police, it's the school systems. She did say that students they don't always feel safe, not only with the police, but the teachers as well. It's because we don't have many teachers anymore that actually go to school and want to do their job. They aren't passionate about it. Mm-hmm. I've sat in classrooms where teachers will tell you they don't want to be here today. Wow. And they will give the bare minimum when they teach. And I feel like for some people, school is an escape because they don't have the best home life. So they go to school and they're not being surrounded by positive energy. They're being surrounded by teachers who project negative energy. They say they don't want to be here. They complain. They talk about principles and all of this. So that's why we don't feel safe, because we're being surrounded by teachers that aren't passionate about what they're doing. Y'all know what they're just there for, a paycheck.
Wow. So follow that up. So Jamari, what would you ask the school board to do for better selection of teachers? Yep.
I would ask them to stop just hiring people that have a bachelor's degree and stop hiring people just because they need a good coach, and actually do more thorough checks. I guess that's the right word, checks, when they're going about hiring these teachers, because it should be about the best interest of the students, but it's not. And I agree with teachers, having to be in a good environment to be able to be happy, but at some point, I feel like the people who are hiring these teachers, instead of just looking for teachers, they need to look for motivated teachers, passionate teachers, and teachers who want to be at the school every day.
Wait, Mr. Holden asked for actionable steps for the police. Y'all had some strong feelings. Here's your opportunity to speak directly. Actionable steps. What do you believe? What's your suggestion? What can you agree to? What can you hold them to, and vice versa?
Earlier I mentioned community policing. I think that police officers need to get into our communities and hold events, do things with the youth of our communities, because we want to have a relationship with you, and then you want us to trust you. What are you doing to make us trust you? So I think that holding events or getting into schools and doing things with kids, that makes us trust you. That makes us want to interact with you.
I'd like to speak to that, and tell me if I'm wrong. You guys do host National Night Out. At least Morgan City, Franklin, there's the Sheriff Department. I'm not sure, Patterson. You giving me the eyes? I got you. I got you. And I don't know about Baldwin, but I know that there are National Night Out events. What in addition should there be? Because I do know that happens.
I don't think everyone has the ability to get to the events like that our police departments hold. Well, not our police departments, because the town of Baldwin doesn't host any events like that. So I'm guessing that students and the youth from our community would have to travel to other communities. So I think that there needs to be things that are in all of the communities across our parish that are inclusive for everyone.
I would like to add on to what he said. I wish police officers could be more involved in the youth and community and stuff, hold gatherings so we can be trusted. So we can trust in you.
Go ahead, Dustin. Go ahead.
I think we gotta get to know the police more. For example, Coach G. I know Coach G well. Coach G comes to our football practices and all that. I know him well. I feel like if a situation was to arise, he would protect me because I know him. But it's not always the case for everybody. But yeah, I think that'll help.
Like Destin said, I feel like as far as schools, police should want to get on a more personal level with students. Come to practices, come to football games. It's $7, $8 to get in a game, and that really makes the players and students feel like Destin said, if anything happens, they know that they will protect them. Come to games, come to practices, come to school events, to make them feel like they matter and that they are safe.
Actually, I have two things. One, I feel the police should have faster response times. And another thing is, the police should, if they see a group of kids in the street, it's okay to stop the car and ask them what they're going to do or how their day is going. They may tell you that they're going to shoot basketball, going to throw the football or something, or they have a game and they want you to come. And in the long run, it'll help the kids go better relationships with the police department and the police as a whole.
I also think that police officers should get to know us from behind the badge. Come from behind your badge and get to know us. When you do come to our events, when you come to our sporting events, don't come in your uniform. Get to know us as you instead of officer whoever.
Okay.
All right,
Great
we have just one last comment from the audience, and then we can move on.
Okay.
Young lady.
I feel like that since we're young children and we grew up in different ways, and they are respect your elders, look how you were taught, look where you came from, but respect is also earned, not just given. And so for them to always talk about respected elders. I'm older than you. That means you have to listen to me. You're not always right. It might seem like you're right, but you're not. And for them to always be like, well, I'm older, I have more experience than you, so that means that I always know what's best for you. That's not always the case.
Thank you, Yuli. Thank you for that advice. What you was going to say?
No, I wanted to see if anyone wanted to speak to that.
Anybody? They're following what you said earlier. They're letting the kids talk.
Okay. Well, keep it in mind. I would love to hear a response to that.
Okay. So, one more time? Go ahead. She wants to say something.
I'm coming.
You said we shouldn't say that, but that's the answer to that question. That we can tell you that we are adults and that we know what should happen because we grew up in an era different from this era, and we know better. So, and I've heard a lot of kids saying they don't want to hear that, but that is the solution. We know. And a lot of kids are saying, you know, who are you to tell me? Who am I not to tell you? I'm a way older than you, so I should, you should not tell me that I shouldn't say. I can't tell you because you didn't grow up when I grew up, and that's the answer.
Yeah.
We're not growing up with you guys. We are already there. So to say that, and I agree with the girl that some adults, and it's unfortunate that we as parents have to pick sometime who we want our kids to listen to. But I hope to say that at least 90% of us trust the people who we live in with our community to be able to tell our kids right from wrong. But there is some adults that we have to look after to say we can't trust them to tell our kids right or wrong.
No, and I had to say that. I had to kind of open the floor to that because there is order, right? There's law and there's order. And I think we can't just say, who are you to tell me? But there's law and order. There's things that are done decency and in order. So I had to speak to that or allow someone to speak to that.
I think just to close that one out, I think what we're up against right now is a generation of kids that have a lot more access than we did coming up. And what that does is that puts them in a different mind state that we don't understand. So now we have to adjust. Some of us have to educate ourselves and meet them where they are. And I think to Yuli's point, what she's saying is that I think a lot of frustration comes when you see these kids doing things that you aren't accustomed to when you grew up. And then I think the frustration makes you speak in what they are now seeing as in a disrespectful manner. Because again, they have access to a lot more information. We were do as mom and dad says. They get to see YouTube videos, they get new ideas, they get everything is at their fingertips. So we have to adjust as parents and with that understanding, adjust our approach to how we try to guide these young men and women. All right, and so with that being said, I want to get to a point, we're talking about gun violence, and we're talking about situations that a lot of you guys, in my opinion, are unfairly subjected to. So what I want to do is, a lot of times, and I talk to my kids all the time, a lot of times the things that happen, we get the news part of it, right? When it goes down, when it happens, and then it's the shock factor or whatever. But I know you ladies and gentlemen, youngsters, y'all see the beginning of that, right? So from that standpoint, in the beginning phase, what do you feel is the biggest issue that's happening that goes from a minor altercations to a shooting? In your opinion, what do you think is happening from a minor altercation to a shooting?
I think it's all about the tone and like what you're talking to a person. Like if I say what you're talking about, like that's an aggressive tone versus what you're talking about. Like I think the tone is the reason it goes from like the small thing to a big thing. which leads to the violence.
So hold that mic. I want to challenge that. So you telling me just because a person says something in a certain tone, right, then that what brings it to gun violence?
For the police, yes.
No. I'm talking about, not for the police. I'm talking about your generation, right? You guys that's in the streets right now, and I'm not saying in the streets in a negative fashion. I mean outside playing, whatever it means. But you're out there, you're at school, you're seeing the altercations unfold, and then seeing the end product ending in the shooting. I'm trying to gain an understanding of what happens in between that gap, right?
Oh yeah, like the tone and the posture too is about a lot that does it. To me, I think the posture goes a long way.
If I could follow up with that, do you guys feel that the easy access to guns and weaponry have a part to play in how easily things are escalated now?
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, do you have any friends or do you know of any of your peers that if they wanted a gun, they could just get it like that?
Yes, sir.
Right. So I think a part of that, the reason why things escalate so fast is because these heavy machineries that can be used for weapons of mass destruction, if you think about it, are now just on the streets. So I think a part of things escalating so fast is because you say something to me, I could easily go get a gun, just like that, and things happen.
Can I speak? I like to speak to that as well because I'm a firm believer in education in all forms, right? And it puzzles me sometimes, and I'm gonna speak directly, I'm gonna speak real. In the black community in particular, you find a lot of times, and I know I am a product of that as well, a lot of times we don't see, touch, or educated on a gun until you see it on, in my case, I think it was Menace to Society or something like that, when it's sensationalized and this and that. And I think in other communities and other areas, you catch them at 5 years old hunting, and then that gun then is more respect for that gun, right? So that gun is then taught that it's used to feed your family by hunting or protect your family when necessary. I think a lot of times in different communities, what happens is there's a fantastical view of what a gun is, right? And I go back to the music and things of that nature. I understand the influence of it. So I think that's a strong factor. And then going back to what the young lady said right there, emotional intelligence, right? Emotional intelligence and understanding how to respond in conflict resolution. All of these things are missing. So you mixed all of that together, you got a catastrophe, in my opinion.
I think it's easier to pull a trigger than to sit there and fight somebody.
Yeah.
Like if you get beat up in the street, they gonna say you got beat up. You're gonna hear that for a while. Whereas if you kill somebody, it's easier. It's an easier result. It's faster too.
That's real. We're but that's real. So you got to think in terms, again, putting yourself in their shoes. They got to deal with social media, right? So when we fought back in the days, it was just a few, 2 or 3 that was there. Right now they're going live and they're getting humiliated by millions of people. So this is a whole different ball game. So again, if you don't have the wherewithal to have the emotional intelligence and understand how to handle conflict resolution coupled onto the peer pressures and things of social media, I can see how it can spiral. I can understand. I'm not saying it's right. I'm no way condoning it, but I understand. You feel what I'm saying? And we got to figure out a way to bring that to a head. Go ahead.
Like you said, like Holden said, it's so much easier to just pull a trigger than to talk about your problems. People lack basic communication skills in all ages, and they don't want to learn how to communicate. They don't want to learn how to do that. They think it's so much easier to just pull a trigger instead of, and they don't even have to fight. Open and understanding communication can go a long way. And people don't get that. They don't want to communicate. They don't want to learn how to communicate. They just want to, their first reaction is violence instead of, like I said, learning how to communicate their feelings properly and in a manageable way.
So to that point and going a little deeper, how how much of an impact do you on your level and y'all think that drugs play in a part in this? Because me personally, I couldn't imagine a kid your age having access to whatever drug, but I know it's a reality. I'm not at your school. I'm not in your peer group. So I need to hear from you. Are you, like, how easy is it to access it? And is that, from your opinion, the things that you see around you, is that a major factor in the end product of somebody laying dead on the ground?
I think that drugs are so easily accessible in our communities that a lot of students, a lot of youth in our community, they do indulge in drugs in our communities, and we all know it's a fact that drugs do hinder our ability to think and make proper judgment. And then I think that the drugs on our streets, they are a lot of times the issue that spark the violence in our communities, because so many times our youth get involved in drugs and the dealing of drugs, and deals go wrong. Mm-hmm. So I think that the accessibility of drugs in our communities play a huge role, a vital role in the problems we see.
Okay.
I kind of agree with what he said, because a lot of kids' parents do drugs, so it's pretty much more easy for them to get it, because it's like mostly all the time laid out in front of them. So they would probably sneak and grab it and then go out, show it off to their friends. And sometimes there's people that are too addicted, they'll do anything for it. So if the wrong person see them with it, they either gonna kill them for it or fight them for it. Because drugs have a big impact on people. Drugs can cause people to have different type of emotions. It can get them to the point they don't care what nobody say. It can also get them to the point where they would kill somebody just to have what they want. If they want it, they might anything.
Anybody want to speak to that? Any of y'all got anything to say in reference to that? Anybody? All right.
It's getting down.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can you repeat the question again?
I'm saying, like, we're talking about starting from maybe a minor altercation or something of that nature. I'm hearing a lot of these things are happening from rap beef. You know what I mean? So from a minor altercation to somebody actually laying on the ground dead, in your opinion, do you think that drugs, even at your age, even at his age, are playing a big role in that?
As a young African American myself, I feel that drugs don't play a big part of it. It's the motto of whoever you hang around, that's what you're gonna be. So if they have 13 and 14-year-olds nowadays that sag, think doing drugs is fun, smoking vapes, and they think it's cool, but in reality it's not. And like you said with the drugs, like when people sell drugs, they be wanting that money, and if you don't give them that money, they're gonna kill.
All right, we got one right here, and then we're going to open it up and let the adults finally talk. I know y'all been sitting there like, give me that mic.
I feel like it's the music we listen to. Like, okay. The rappers and everything, they put that in our, like, we listening to it, and we think it's cool, so we doing what they're doing, and just following what they're doing.
Good
That's
point.
what drugs and everything, guns, smoking, drugs, all of it.
If I could just touch on.
Go ahead.
Just to touch on, to follow up on what, got it. Let me see, go back up.
Look, do this.
Let me see, thank you. Just to follow up on what Jay said about it being in the lyrics, I'm not sure exactly what state it was. I think it might have been New York, because hip hop was kind of like originated in New York, and it was so prevalent there. There was a law that just passed that lyrics from hip hop and rap artists cannot be used against them in a court of law. And one of the main reasons why their lyrics and their songs can't be used against them in a court of law is because a lot of the rappers were saying that the lyrics that they were writing weren't their reality. So just to hit that point home is that the lyrics are glamorized but they're not actually going to live those lives. And so a lot of times kids think that is what reality is, those lyrics. But when those lyrics in the court system and rappers fought that, don't use this against us because it's not real. So that's just a point to touch upon. And I know time is winding down, but I just want to get this one last question across. Last Friday, the Patterson Community Center, we ended our Patterson Summer Camp program. Dylan and Jamari were two of our summer camp counselors, and they did an awesome job leading the younger generations behind them. We tried to have extracurricular activities. So a lot of kids, when they leave school, they don't have those extracurricular activities to come home towards. So my last question is, what extracurricular activities that you would like to see in your community happen for those kids that aren't necessarily happening right now?
And we'll go down the line. That way everybody has a chance to input. You go first, then we're going to come back to you. What would you like to see happen? Like after school program, summer program, whatever?
I really don't know.
All right,
I would just like to see I would just like to see more kids get involved in church, honestly. I think the churches could do more outreaches. We could go drive vans around, pick up kids for church, invite them, just do our part too.
I think that in our communities, community leaders in our communities need to invest in the activities such as our baseball programs, basketball, football programs, and if those programs aren't in place in your communities, start those programs and invest in them. Invest in the community centers that want to help with the youth and mentor youth and work with the youth in their mental health. Invest in those programs, and if those programs aren't started, start those programs.
I would say school tutoring programs, because sometimes when kids go home, they don't have the parents who really care about them, like their grades and all that type of stuff, and really just don't care. Just wonder if they'll get back. If they'll go to the next grade.
I believe we kind of need a few more programs that help us with changing the world, like making the world a better place in the environment, like picking up trash. That's pretty much what we got. What I say they should have, like they should have some after-school activities for people that want to help the environment and pick up trash.
I think we get the community involved, like having the students, like sports, like having the students play basketball against the parents or whatever. I think that'd be beneficial.
I think there should be a committee of people who want to gather a group of kids of all ages, maybe 3 days or maybe 2 days out of the week, and gather them at a certain place. If transportation needs to be a thing, we could definitely, get vans and pick them up throughout the parish. But I think there should be a mentoring program where kids feel like they have a safe space to go to these adult figures, mentors, and share what they're going through, share their feelings, so they don't feel like their resort should be suicide or self-harming or just violence of any kind. They should have a safe space to be able to open up and express their feelings. And like I said, this could be a parish thing. There could be a designated place, and we could establish a transportation where we, go around in vans picking up students and bringing them back, after school during the evening, just so they can have a safe space to express themselves, so they don't feel alone, and so they have people that they know that they can go to and depend on in times of need.
I say that the city should build a recreation center that can keep the kids from a certain time, because the longer they're in the recreation center, the more that they're not doing harm in the streets. And it would be better that all the kids in one, they get to know each other, build better relationships, and it could carry them a long way. and have programs that teach them life skills, such as shake somebody's hand, how to talk, how to dress, life skills, you know.
I agree on what he said, but the stuff that we have around here, it costs money, and like some people are less fortunate, and they can't pay for the stuff that we all have. So I don't know what we could do to fix that.
We're going to do one last statement, and then we're going to go over here.
I agree with what she said, that there needs to be programs in our communities that students can go to after school where they can learn about life skills, where they can gain mentorship. I'd just like to take the opportunity to announce my candidacy for Alderman of the Town of Baldwin. And as an Alderman of the Town of Baldwin, I will insert those programs in our community that reach students like us and youth in our community.
All right, and I wanted.
He said he's not just gonna talk about it. He gonna be about it. He throwing his hand in that hat. And 19 years old, right? That deserves a round of applause.
All right, of course, this is where we open the floor to the adult, actually everyone, but we're going to start off here with these young ladies here, and they're going to have about 2 minutes to address the public.
Good afternoon. We touched on a lot of stuff tonight, okay? And I want to kind of clarify, if you don't mind, please, okay, because I'm proud of you guys for getting up and saying what you all are saying. I've dealt with a lot of young children who have come to me in confidentiality because they can't go home and they can't talk to mom or they can't talk to dad because they're not understanding, okay? And so I have to put in understanding for the younger ones and be there for them because it takes a village to raise the kids, okay? Then I have to also hear, like, the teacher, I heard the teacher drama with the students, okay? It goes hands in hands. There are some teachers that are tired, okay? Don't get me wrong, because they have a lot to deal with, okay? They have to work with curriculums, different curriculums that they're dealing with. Also, they have to worry about you're going to the bathroom, you're going to smoke weed, you turned around and you're going to vape now. You know, so it goes hand in hand as far as, because they have to learn new things. They have to lock up all the bathrooms so you can only use 1 or 2 bathrooms. It needs to stop. Leave your vape at home. And I'm being honest with you because I hear my aunt and she calls me at night and she says, girl, I got to stand by the bathroom and hoping that they're not in there smoking weed or they selling brownies with weed in it. It's a whole different ball game. So it got to go hand in hand. Teenagers, you got to be able to go and learn to go to school to get an education. But the teachers have to fight. Now, let me say this, and I'm not defending. I want you all to know I'm not defending the teachers because I love you all. I love children. I love teenagers and all, young adults and all, and I fight for all of you all. But when you go to school, leave the weed at home. I mean, the brownies, leave them at home. They're going to school, they're getting high. It's a different type of high now, I'm just saying, okay? And I'm being honest with you because my aunt, she cries every day because it's always something. She's worked with the younger ones. She's worked with the older ones. It's always fighting. Every time somebody's looking at them, they want to fight at school. She's afraid of getting beat up with a chair. It shouldn't be that way. Okay, and I'm just talking real talk, okay? And I hear your cry. I do. I hear your cry because I'm trying to learn what you all are learning. I applaud you, okay? I really, really do. But somebody got to say something, okay? You can't always be smart at the teacher all the time, okay? Because she say, I asked you to stop. Don't tell me what to do. Okay, I'm a parent of 3, and I'm a grandmother. I got to go to school too sooner or later, because I got to start all over again, raising some little people. Okay, because their dad is not here. Okay, so I want you all to know that we're hearing you. We understand you, and it's a different world because you have a different terminology. You have social media that you all talk about. Now, let me say something. Police-wise, I've been that mother, okay? My children have been arrested, okay? And the police can tell you that. They have been arrested several of times, okay? For all types of things, okay? And it's real. It's real. I've been in the court, the whole 9 yards. I've sat down. I've had some innocent stuff happen, okay? Where I've had one call the police, and the police took him to jail. And it wasn't him. Thank God for video, because they had to release him, okay? And then I got to go and say, come on now, officer, I need you to get it together and say what needs to happen. Clarify it. But I'm willing to work with you all. And Morgan City Police Department knows that I'm there. I've asked them to come with me, talk with me. If we're going to have a balance, we'll have a balance together. Okay? They have vowed and they have said what they have said, that they're going to work with us. So I just want you all to know, we hear your cry, and I thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Smith, and I'm here to address the young people. If you're doing drugs, please stop. I mean, you know, you think, oh, I'm going to do this when it ain't going to do nothing. But you keep on digging and you keep on digging till you may get a hold to the wrong ones. And this was my son, Traylon Smith, 28. And I know a lot of you are young, but if you're doing pills, you think you just want to get high, it just might take your life. So I applaud to you all. Grow up. It's better things to do than waste your time on drugs. My son, we grew up in a home where his mother and his father, I never did drugs a day in my life. Learned this off the street. So if we teach our kids at home to stay away from this kind of stuff, but out in the streets, they're going to teach your child. So you can't come home and say, oh, they ain't going to be my child. He ain't going to do this or she ain't going to do that. We don't know. You don't know what they're going to do behind your back. When the streets talk to your child and tell them, because he was raised right. But now he has no opportunity. I can't touch him. I can't fuss at him anymore because he's not here. So if you think it's cool trying it, please stop. I beg of you to stop. Get a hold to the wrong pills. The ones that's selling it to you, they don't love you. They just want your few little dollars that you have. But be wise. Tell young people, stay away from drugs because they do kill. And you can't get this back. I'll never be able to get my son back. And I trust God to see me through this. So I warn you all, please stop while you're ahead. Because sometimes you go do it 2 or 3 times, and the last time might be the last time. So I applaud you all. Grow up and be successful.
Good evening. My name is Cataline Terrio, and I'm here on behalf of my son, Dean Terrio. And I want to say thank you all for coming and being so honest. And I really got a lot out of what y'all said. And I just have to say, I really admire y'all, and I am so proud of y'all. And I'm so proud to see such a good crowd out here tonight. I mean, I've came to just about every one of them, and I have never seen as many people as I have tonight. And I do want to say thank you. But I also want to tell the youth out here is please, please watch who you hang with, because the ones that you think are your friends are not your friends. Believe you me. My son right here, 21 years old, was murdered by what he thought was his best friend. So watch out and watch your back and make sure you know who you're hanging with and what they're doing, because you never know what will happen. And just as these mothers said, we'll never get our kids back. They're gone forever. My son will always be 21 in my heart. And now I work with victims of crime for the district attorney's office, and that's all I do is work with victims of crime. And believe you me, I see it every day. I see the aftermath of all mothers, not just us, but there are so many other mothers out there and parents that are crying, that are losing their children after. So please stop and think. Think hard before you do something, because when we was talking about these video games and the music, you know, it's easy to do something and you think, oh, well, you're watching it on TV, you can hit that reset button. You know what? In life, there's no reset button. So stop and think about that before, and thank you. Okay. I made that statement because the one that murdered my son, they were friends for probably since after elementary school. And I mean, he was in my house all the time. I mean, always there. And I never would have thought that. And when I say watch it, is because after he murdered my son, he was still in my home. He would still come to my home. He attended the funeral. He was helping us to find out who had murdered him all this time. And that happened for 15 months. I was looking over my shoulder, and all that time I did not know there he was standing. So watch it, because you never really know who your friends are. I mean, they can put on a really good front, and you'll never know it until it's too late.
So with the time remaining, again, we're going to open up the floor to the floor. But if anyone would like to talk to the mothers, they will be here afterward, and you can pick their brain afterward. Yes, sir.
Yeah, before you go on, I definitely want to speak to the kids, because my heart goes out to all of you mothers. But how many of y'all, the kids only, love y'all mama? How many of y'all love y'all mama? How many of y'all would ever want to see your mama sitting in that seat right there? Exactly. I just want to tell y'all, and I got to use this moment to say it, and please pay attention. You're only one mistake from having your mama there. All it takes is one mistake. And am I telling you to be perfect? No, nobody's perfect. But I tell my kids all the time, I expect you to be perfectly aware. Perfectly aware, because you're one mistake from having your mama sitting there. Go ahead, Danica. Where you at?
Okay, this question actually comes from the Mayor, Mayor Grogan. To the panel, see something, say something, do something, would you do it?
Y'all understand the question? So we're going to go down the line. Mayor, you want to yes or no, or you want them to elaborate? Okay, however it comes to you. If you see something, will you say something? Be honest. Be honest. That's what we want.
No.
Why wouldn't you? Be honest.
Snitches. Get stitches. You're right.
You're listening to the audience. I want to hear your mind.
No, but like, that's how it is. Like, it's just gonna keep going around that you snitched on that one person just for like, how long you been there? Like forever. Like they're just gonna call you a snitch forever. Like they're just gonna keep sticking with it.
All right. And I'm saying all right, but you're not off the hook. I'm just trying to move it along. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, but who protects us when we say something?
Wow, okay.
Yes.
No, I don't feel like, if it doesn't involve me, I don't have like to say anything.
Okay.
Personally.
That's your honest opinion. Go ahead.
Yes.
No, but let me explain. I try not to put myself in situations where I would have to be involved in that.
Okay, so my challenge to y'all, and that's a great question, Mayor, but I always like to challenge my kids sitting there. They know I challenge your thoughts. So, to you, young man, if someone, God forbid, and I'm not even going to put a name on it because I believe the power of the tongue, but I'm just saying somebody you love, right? If somebody murders somebody you love, and somebody was standing right there and saw it, would you hold them to that same thing you just said? Why not? You just said, say what you said in the mic. And we're talking, I'm not putting you on the spot, I'm challenging your thought.
No.
you would want them to tell, right? So doesn't the same rule apply? You see what I'm saying? And I understand you, brother. And look at me when I'm talking to you. I understand you because you've been brainwashed to think that way, right? But when it's connected to somebody you love, you want the police to get involved. You want justice. You want all of this, right? So why doesn't that family deserve the same thing?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Now to kind of play against a little devil's advocate on behalf of Jace, and he's here on the stage, you all on this stage, there's cameras rolling, their friends could be watching for their honest answers, who gonna protect them.
There you go, yep.
For his honest answer, he might have friends who's gonna, if y'all want his honest answer, who's gonna protect him now? Who's gonna protect any of them? Like Blue said, who's gonna protect them for their honesty and their bravery sitting up here now? So kind of, you can see why they would say no.
Yeah. That's totally valid. And it's a shame that you have to be in that position. You know what I mean? I applaud your statement, young man, in saying that you don't want to put yourself in that position. Me personally, I'm working home, so I don't know what goes on out there. You know what I mean? Unless what Facebook say. So I don't put myself in that position. But I just wanted to challenge, and I applaud you for your honesty, right? For whatever reason it is. Mr. Holden made a point, but the fact of the matter is, I just want y'all to think. That's it. And be an independent thinker. Think for yourself. And if it makes sense, go with it. If it doesn't, then challenge it. That's it.
All right, thank you. And we're going to actually turn it over to our St. Mary Parish coroner, Dr. Eric Melanson. He'd like to speak about drug problem in the community.
Well, first, I'd like to thank all of y'all for coming. It's very enlightening to me to see the youth and their positions on a lot of these things. Some of them I find a travesty. Some of them I find enlightening. First of all, we talked on a lot of different topics. Number one, we talked about drugs, gun violence, suicide, all of these things. I'd like to address the suicide issue. Mental health issues here in the parish are terrible. There's some processes that are being put in place, hopefully, that will come to full fruition to allow us to not only target the drug population, but also the youth. I mean, if you look at the Johns Hopkins study, 1 in 4 students between the ages of 12 and 18 have contemplated suicide. I count 8 of you up there. That would mean that at least 2 of you have thought about it. And I can tell you, probably look in this audience and you look at the adults too. Probably that same 1 in 4 applies at some point. So how do we help prevent that? It's going to take what I call responsibility. And I think that word would apply to everything that we've done here. Responsibility for ourselves, responsibility for others, and responsibility for our community. First, we take responsibility for ourselves. If we're having issues, we talk about it. We find the help. You may not know there's help. We may not know there's help. We have to figure it out. If you see somebody who struggles, is it my responsibility? Snitches get stitches. It is mine. I want to know. I want to do what I can do to help. And if I can't help them, by God, I'm going to make sure I can help find somebody to help them. But it's going to take you guys on the forefront. All these training exercises we talked about, it's not to teach somebody how to go shoot up a school. It's to teach you how to react. Teach you the responsibility you need to do. And all those fools who are cutting up, you're going to be the one that saves their life. And I think you need to understand that, as we grow, our responsibilities grow. As we get older, we learn more. Could you survive on Naked and Afraid? I mean, literally. Drop you off in the middle of the woods. We just did one back here, last year, year before? Yeah? Oh, yeah. 60 days. Could you survive? And you had a partner. That partner may not have the same skill set you do. You may not have the same skill set they do, but working together is being responsible for each other. And I think once you start taking responsibility and showing a little respect, the adults will show the same respect and take the responsibility to help you out. Law enforcement needs that respect. They respect you. Same thing. I don't want to see any of you. I don't want to ever be looking at one of these moms here ever again. And I probably will. But it's going to take our work and our responsibility to do so.
I think it's almost at 7:30. So I implore anyone, if you have any questions, please seek out the ladies up front to learn more about their story.
Real fast, Courtney, I want to touch on something you said earlier about guns and how some start with guns at 5. Some of us don't get to see handguns actually at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a time where fake guns, BB guns, was being taken for real guns, right?
Yep.
And today it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. Because back then we had guns, BB guns that was orange and they were blue and they were red, so you were able to tell the difference. Right now we have Officer Villance here, and he's going to just do a little demonstration, and we want you all to be able to, of course, everything's empty, nothing's loaded. We want you to be able to tell us by him holding them up, and he's going to hold them where you can see him, which one is actually, we want you to, on the panel, to pick out which one is actually the real gun and which one is not.
All right, that should be cool. So hold it up. Where's the mic? All right, so we're going to do right there. No closer, right there. So we're going to do right, left. Which one you think is the real one?
Left.
The left?
Left.
I'll say yeah, the left one.
Left.
The left one looks heavier.
The right.
The left.
The right.
And which one is the real one?
Okay, and as you can tell by looking at them, you can't tell which one is and which one isn't the right one. Well, of course, those of us that have experience with them can tell by looking.
So this is one thing that we kind of brought out just to kind of give everybody an insight of what goes on with us. Y'all had about 10 seconds to sit up there and look at this. On the streets, whenever somebody pulls one of these out on us, we have less than a second to react. So make sure that parents in here, preach to your children, let them know, don't let them carry a BB gun or a toy gun that you think looks cool because it looks like the real thing. I have a little boy, I have a 5-year-old little boy. He is not allowed to play with anything that resembles a real gun for that reason. I don't want him to think that it's okay to point what he thinks is a toy gun at somebody and they think it's a real gun. So most of y'all got it wrong. Y'all picked the BB gun that I have in my hand. Actually, it's an airsoft gun. So just understand that there's a lot that goes into this. So as a community, we all need to make sure we do our parts as well as making sure that we hold ourselves accountable. Yeah, we have some more weapons on the table as well, some more firearms. If y'all want to come over there and look at them, y'all can kind of see. And I challenge anybody, the ones that I have on the table, come tell me if they're real or fake, and you can sit there and look at them as long as you want. So, and if y'all have any questions about gun safety or y'all ever want to learn anything about gun safety, feel free to contact the sheriff's office, and we'll do whatever we can to help educate anyone that's interested.
And
a minute and 30 seconds, that's good?
yeah, go ahead.
Look, I wasn't going to say anything. I want to say to the young people, you all did a very good job and you need to be recognized.
They did.
I believe what you are saying. As older people, we need to learn to listen to see where your train of thought is.
Yep.
And it seemed at certain times we were attacking the law enforcement. I believe that the law enforcement is here, and everyone is here because they care about you, what you feel, what you think, and what you go through. And I want to say this. I don't believe anyone in here can honestly say that they've been privy to an active shooter situation. We have at St. Luke Church about 4 years ago. That was an active shooter situation in our church yard where bullets flew through the church. I was getting ready to go preach, and I was in the bathroom about 20, 25 feet. Because of my military training, that kicked in. I alerted my ministers who were there, who are retired police officers, and I did not tell the church anything, went on and preached. That could have been a bad situation because the fella had an AR-15 and he got shot by the police officers. So what I'm saying in turn, young people, some of you may not think that training is good. If you train enough, everybody's going to act a certain way, but if you have enough training, you'll be able to learn how to handle yourself in those situations if you did not have training.
Definitely, thank you.
Once again, we want to thank everybody, especially this brave panel. We thank you all. You're smart, you're intelligent, you're going to change the world. Keep at it. Don't try to be perfect. Just try to be the best that you can be, as well as for all you out there. On behalf of Mayor Rodney Grogan and the city of Patterson, we want to thank you all for these past 6 sessions. Hold on. The mayor wants to speak.
I just want to say thank you all. This is it. But it's not it. We're going to take all this information. We're going to meet with the ministers. We're going to meet with you, the young people. We've heard from you and so forth. We have the social health. We have Dr. Malonson. We have to put a plan together and so forth. We will save St. Mary Parish. We will do what we can and do what we must to protect you all. That's our job. So all the mayors are going to be meeting, all the police departments will be meeting. We're going to take all of what we've learned and we're going to put it all into a plan. And we're going to try to meet those objectives. We're going to set goals and we're going to meet those objectives. A lot of you saying you need somewhere to go. Young man, I didn't know that you were going to be running for alderman in Baldwin. No, Gunner, you're from Burdenville, and you said that you need a community center and this, that, and the other. I heard Mayor Foucault say the schools have to step up too. Patterson has a community center, but the schools need to step up and provide things too. It costs money, taxes, and so forth when it comes down to opening up and keeping these buildings going. But we're going to do what we can do to make sure that we have programs, the Delta Sigma Theta, all of the ministers, all of the organizations and so forth. We're going to bring everybody together, and we're going to meet the needs. That little gentleman there, I'm afraid of you. I think 6 years from now, I think he's going to be running for mayor. But thank all of you, all of the ministers. Some of you have been here from day one. Thank all of you. But take what you've heard, and try to help us meet their needs. I thank all of you. This has been the best. This has been the best to hear from the children, these young men and women and so forth. Thank you so very much. Dr. Malonson wants to hear from you because I'm going to tell you, I came up to hear my mom and dad say, ain't nothing wrong with you. You ain't crazy, this, that, and the other. And that was back in the 70s and 80s when you tried to sit down and talk about different things. I was always overweight and bullied. And counseling and so forth. We were told I need to go to counseling, and my parents said, no, you need to just push back from the table. Well, that was easy to do. I would have done it. But in the black families, and I'm going to say what I have to say, nobody's crazy. We don't want to hear that. But when a child tells you they may need counseling and so forth, act upon it. Act upon it. The children are telling you they need someone to speak to. So I think that's mental health has been the thing from day one, from the first meeting all the way down to this one. We've heard mental health. Mental health. Thank you all so very much, and God bless.
And speaking of public officials, Danica, you want to? Yeah, so will all the public officials please stand? Recognize you. So in the future public officials, y'all need to look at these people and shake a hand when you get down here, because you're probably going to fill their spaces in the future. I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out tonight. It shows that you care. I think we got a lot of meat tonight. We got a lot to build on. We heard where we need some corrections. We heard where we can make some enhancements. So hopefully we grab onto the voices that we heard tonight and move that forward. That is my prayer. That is my hope. And we can move in that fashion. So, Marquis, I'm going to put you on the spot now. Pastor C, open up the prayer. Would you please close us out with prayer?
I've been working, by the way. Let's pray. Father, I just thank you for all those who are here tonight, all those who participated in this event. Father, I thank you that you continue to give us wisdom. You continue to give us direction. For the leaders in our community, give them everything they need. Give them support by the people. Give them support by those who can actually make change. And for our young people, I pray that you give them the courage to say what they need to say, that you give them the courage to speak out when they need to speak out. And that, Lord, that we don't ignore them, we don't ignore their cries, we don't ignore what they're going through, but we actually open our ears and we listen. And we learn to have conversations with them as well. And, Lord, as we continue to do this, I thank you that you're going to do something great in our community because we'll keep you first in everything that we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen, amen. And while y'all standing, a round of applause again for these standing ovations. Y'all did a great job. Be proud of yourselves.